What is happening, Steeler Nation? What's happening, guys? Some reason my camera just froze. I don't know what that was about, but hopefully you can see me now. But what's happening, folks? How's everything? Hope everything is well. Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and I believe we're on episode 148, if I'm not mistaken. Make sure you guys can hear me out there. Running a little bit late, guys, so I'm honestly letting y'all know that. And actually, there's something else I forgot to do. I don't know why my camera is freezing, guys. I keep seeing it freeze. Is it freezing on your end? Y'all let me know. Is it freezing on your end? Camera's bugging out. I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, y'all let me know. One thing I actually forgot to do that I'm going to do right here live as you guys are watching. I forgot to turn on Blog Talk, so I'm going to do that right now. Give me 2 seconds, and I don't think you guys will hear it because I have it set up to where you guys are not going to hear the browser. But once I get it back up and running, I will cut it back on, so for those that call in, we'll be able to hear them. Give me 2 seconds, guys. But I hope everything is going great for you guys tonight, man. Hopefully everything is great. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Once again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the draft as well as I did. I got to put this on for a second so I can hear when Blog Talk connects. And while I'm waiting for it to connect, let me see what you guys are doing. All right. So again, anybody, is my camera freezing? Are you guys able to hear me? Please let me know. Please let me know that you're able to hear me just fine. I need you to confirm that. Okay, everybody can hear me. All right, great. And soon enough, guys, you'll see some stuff going on in the background. I'm going to kind of switch up the way I present the show. As you can see, I'm in my new office. That's why I don't have the background up there. All right, here we go. Blog Talk is connected. So I'm going to turn the browser back on. Just didn't want you guys to have to hear that. There we go. All right, let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. Sorry, guys, for my lateness. I apologize for that, man. It's just myself here tonight. Me and my wife both sometimes have to travel for our jobs. I guess that's the price of being in I guess you could say, I don't know, upper management position, if you will. You guys know I commute to DC twice a week. I really only have to do it 1 day a week, but I go twice because my entire team is in the office twice. So I commute on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. My wife, her company home base office is in New York. She goes there once a month. Sometimes I go with her, but this time she's only going to be there until tomorrow. So she left this morning. She's coming back tomorrow. So there's no need for me to go. And then, of course, my little son, which he might pop on here at some point, he's staying over at Leonard's. You guys know here in the comments, my father-in-law and mother-in-law over there, so he can go to school, right? So there you have it. It's just me, so I had to rush home. It was mad traffic. I had to cook myself something to eat, and now here we are. Apologize for my lateness, but I always keep it real and 100 with you guys so y'all know what the deal is with me. All right, we're going to get in and out in this show, man. I'm going to get into my thoughts, and I really just want to get the phone calls, man. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here tonight. We did a lot on draft week. I appreciate the live show. Had my man Kenyon on, had Kenyon on again Friday night. It was lovely having the ladies on Thursday night. And then I did a little mini video giving you guys my quick thoughts on the draft over the weekend. Hopefully you guys saw that. And tonight I'm really just going to talk about who I think the biggest steal was. And I want to get that from you guys as well. So that's kind of where I'm going to go tonight. Like I said, I'm going to talk for just a moment. Then I'm going to open it up to phone calls. And then once we're done with that, we're out of here. So let's say hello and peace to everyone in the chat. Let me do that really quick. What's up to Y Diggy, Rajan, Joshua Shields. Hello, Miss Lanisha. How you doing tonight? Hope you are well, Miss Lady. Guys, make sure you take time out to say hello to the lovely ladies. Carolina Larry. Who else we got up in here? Brent Fox, C. Antoine Hill, Luis D. Antoine, I'm actually going to mention a little bit of what you sent me as well here in a moment. I'll kick the show off with that as far as Christian Gonzalez. Dietrich Bundick. Who else is up in here? Mr. Winningham, how you doing tonight, sir? Hope you're well. Who else we got up in here, man? Let's see. Mr. Elman. BQ412 in the building. Ali Howard in the building. Tristan Cooper, Lydell Dorsey. Hello, Miss Destiny. How you doing tonight, Destiny? Appreciate you as well coming on Thursday. Had a lovely time with yourself, Debbie and Sade, man. Really appreciate y'all coming out. Love those moments. Jared Devil, the infamous Tim, Tina Williams. Hello, Tina, Miss Lady. How you doing? Guys, make sure you take time out to say hello to the lovely ladies. Do not forget to hello, Odessa. How you doing, Miss Odessa? I haven't seen you in a while. I think I did catch you earlier, I think last week, but I haven't spoken to you in a while. So hello, how you doing, fellas? Make sure y'all say hello. Brother Tony in the building, my brother Kenyon in the building, of course. You know, it's kind of formality to shout those guys out. And there goes father-in-law Leonard. And like I said, Lil Mason is over there at Leonard's house to go to school. Got about another month or so of that before, you know, everything gets switched up. But let's start off with the donation. Donation. Appreciate the donation, man. I'm going to throw a round of applause to my man, Luis D. And of course, the round of applause is not working. Hold on. Well, I tell you, technology is crazy. It shows me that it was up and running, and then all of a sudden when I press the button, it closes. So let's get that back up in the fold. Here we go. Round of applause to my good brother, Luis D. Gotta love technology, right? Until it fails you. Luis says, this draft was great. Some of these players, I believe, are going to make an immediate impact on the team from the first to the fourth round with Darnell, who I thought at first was Eric Green. Yeah, man, listen, overall, you cannot be upset with this draft. I mean, you might be upset as far as the players that was taken, but when you look at it in totality, man, you cannot be upset at the positions that were addressed and the players that they acquired. So, one of which was Christian Gonzalez, right? That was one of the people that a lot of us would have liked to see the Steelers drafted. You guys know how I felt the night of the draft. Let me turn this light down a little bit. You guys know how I felt the night of the draft. And I know how some of you guys were feeling in the comments. Some of you were even saying that the Steelers draft was ruined. Some of you were going as far as to say that the draft was a bust and the Steelers were doomed for passing on Christian Gonzalez. Well, let me explain something to you. We can always fall in love with certain players, have our thoughts and opinions. You know, we did it last year with Malik Willis, and we've done it previous years. You know, I remember I did it with Jesse Bates. And I mean, year after year, there's players that you wish the Steelers could get. Not only if they could get, right? So I'm not even talking about trading up. I'm talking about when there's a player right there and they pass on the player. There's always going to be somebody like that you personally like, that I personally like. However, you have to look at it in a full scope. You have to at least, show some trust, show some faith in the GM, the head coach, and anyone else involved in the scouting and decision-making. Art Rooney II. We can't act like we always know what's best. I'm going to hold that thought for just a moment, and I'm going to say round of applause to Sean Manahan for the donation. Appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing that, Sean. Yes, I did see that as well. Joy Porter Jr. will be wearing Ike Taylor's number 24. So that's cool, man. That's cool. There's so much family ties there with, of course, Peasy being ex-Steeler, winning the Super Bowl, was with these guys like Ike Taylor and been around Mike Tomlin. I heard Joy Porter Jr. said that him and Dino Tomlin are really, really close. So it's a family affair, man. But at the end of the day, they got a good football player and somebody that I think could be very valuable for it. So anyway, let's get back to Christian Gonzalez. C. Antoine Hill sent me something from a guy. Sorry, can't remember what his name was, but it was a guy who did a YouTube video about the rumor and the report that came out. And actually, I think Kenyon actually sent this to me and Tony, man, the day that it was posted on Twitter, and then it quickly got deleted. But apparently, there's sources saying that Mike Tomlin didn't necessarily think that Christian Gonzalez had the competitive edge, or he wasn't competitive enough for what they were looking for. And he supposedly told Minka that, listen, we won't be drafting this kid. And from what I'm hearing, from what that guy said on the video, again, these are not my sources, but the video that C. Antoine sent me, the guy said that Sports Illustrated posted it. So some people are saying it must be valid. But then again, in the days of social media, was it the real Sports Illustrated page? Who knows? I'm not going to get into all of that. Let's just stick with the rumor. My point is, if that is the case, right, whether it's a rumor or not, there's always things like that that we don't know. So while we're upset that a player didn't get drafted, there has to be a reason for it. Now, some people are going to say, okay, well, the Steelers passed on him. Well, how come New England didn't feel that way? Who knows? Everyone has their different opinions. You understand what I'm saying? So it's sometimes you got to just trust in the coaching staff, trust in the organization, even if they don't pick the player that you wanted. And then, if the players that they picked were bust, it is what it is. You deal with it at that point. But there's no way I'm going to sit here, definitely wasn't sitting there on Thursday night, Friday night, or Saturday and saying, oh, it's a bust because they didn't pick XYZ player. It's too early to call any of that. And again, it's just opinions. It's just opinions. So it's a lot of different things that happens in the draft, man. Again, everybody was wondering how come Gonzalez didn't follow up right behind Witherspoon. So listen, I feel like the Steelers, in my opinion, did the right thing, in my opinion. They addressed positions of need, and they were able to acquire guys that were slated top guys in their position, especially the first 1 and 2 picks. You come away with it with Broderick Jones and Joey Porter Jr. Again, you might have liked Christian Gonzalez. You might have liked Devin Witherspoon. You might have liked Deonte Banks. Joey Porter Jr. was right there in that tier as far as, projections. You may have preferred a guy like Witherspoon or Gonzalez, give him the edge over Joey Porter Jr. for whatever reason, right? However, Joey Porter Jr. is right there in that second tier. And somebody that can develop into being an outstanding cornerback, just looking at his measurables, right? So you got to look at it from a business standpoint, man. You're able to kill 2 birds in 1 stone at 14 and 32. I don't think you can be upset about that, in my opinion. It's not like this was not an Artie Burns type of reach. Not whatsoever. And I think overall, man, they just did a solid job, man. I mean, Keanu Benton, able to get him. And then, we know about everyone else that they acquired, Herbig and Washington. And like I said, I won't spend too much time here. Actually, let me grab one other note that I had. I think I had one other note to point out. Hold on 1 second. And I'll get to that, and then I'll give you my opinion on who I think the steal of the draft was. And then I'm going to open it up to you guys. Like I said, I'm not spending too much time tonight, man. We've been chopping it up with each other for several days now. And I don't want the information to get redundant, if you will. I want to hear more from you guys than you guys hear from me tonight. Let's see. Did I have one more notation? Oh, so my only other note was thoughts on Omar Khan's first draft. Listen, in a nutshell, man, I think Omar Khan did an excellent job. I myself haven't had the opportunity yet to look at all of the UDFA. So, I don't have that information to know who was a steal and who wasn't. I don't know. Again, I've been very, very busy, man, over the last couple of days outside of the draft coverage. Y'all know I'm still getting stuff together. Listen, when you move, whether it's a brand new house, like we did with the built house, or if it's just you moving into a new location, the worst part about moving is unpacking. Unpacking and getting things the way you want it. I mean, between me and my wife, she's had me do all kinds of stuff, hanging TVs on the wall and all. It hasn't stopped, and we still got a ways to go in terms of unpacking and settling in and getting furniture. And we got more furniture coming next week. I've been busy. So I just haven't had the time, man, to sit down and look at everything and watch all of this film, and just haven't had a chance yet. So maybe one of you guys and gals could tell me who you're excited about as far as UDFA. I have no idea. I haven't even checked the list, to be honest with you. I did see that they grabbed a running back, but again, I don't know anything about any of the UDFAs that they've gotten. But overall, man, even I don't know much about the last pick of the draft either. I forget his name. It was hold on, let me be respectful. Let me pull up the draft, the personnel here. Give me a second. Want to be respectful. Looks like we drafted Spencer Anderson, offensive lineman. I know nothing about him. Oh, we got another donation, man. Round of applause again to Luis D. I really appreciate that. Luis, you're reading my mind. He says, speaking of DBs, I saw a couple positive comments for the Steelers' 7th round draft pick in Trice, where even Alex Kazua thinks he could be a good. You seen any video of him? Yes. Ironically, today, I did my short version. I only saw one piece of gameplay footage. I watched the Purdue defense versus the Penn State offense. But there's more games that I want to watch with this guy because, what I did, again, I didn't have a lot of time this evening. What I did is I watched that. It was about 15 minutes long, but it's all of the defensive snaps. I encourage people to do that if you want to, get quick evaluation on a guy. Where also, Kenyon would always say if this was before the draft, Kenyon is a guy that would he watches the entire game, both sides of the ball, regardless of the team, because, it's very important to do that because he says, well, hey, that's how you learn other players that you might want to look out for on a team that you wasn't even expecting. So I do that sometimes as well. But the quick and dirty, if you're honing in on that one player, you can Google it. Well, search it on YouTube, X defense versus X offense or offense versus defense to find the team you're looking for. And that's the only footage I saw from him, as well as the little quick highlight video that was posted. And there's several games that I want to check out. Like I think they played Georgia. I don't know if it was this year or last, but I want to, watch some of those games. So I saw some good clips. I saw a very good rep by him, and I forget which team it was, but he's playing like a middle third. He's carrying the guy. Looks like he's actually carrying the tight end, and eye discipline. He keeping his eye on the quarterback, looking at this guy, and he breaks off of his route and picks off. He undercuts a pass going to a receiver underneath him. Little stuff like that I pay attention to, but that means he's headsy, right? But from what I saw, and I'll talk about him in a moment, but from what I saw, this could be another guy that, actually, I'll go into it right now. He could be a steal. I say could be because I haven't seen enough on him yet to make that determination. But looking at his measurables, I don't know what his speed is like. The dude is 6'3", 215. And again, just from that one game that I watched of him defensively, he's another guy that can get his hands on you, willing to press, willing to play up tight. And he's not really allowing anybody to run by him without getting his hands on him. You know what I'm saying? Even when he's in the trail technique, he got the arm bar out there. And that's the one thing that you guys have heard me talk about our cornerbacks in the last several years. We'll play up tight, but it seems like we didn't trust a lot of our guys to press. And if you really pay attention, man, Terrell Austin did say, look, we're looking for guys that, he said, yeah, we like to play a lot of man. We like to, get up tight on guys, put our hands on them. He's kind of telling us what they're trying to do. Now, you look at Joey Porter's size and his ability, and you look at, what's his name, Corey Trice, his size and what he could potentially be, that dude could be a steal. But like I said, I can't really call how good he is or isn't until I watch more film on him, because I'm just not one of those highlight guys. I'm not going to just watch the highlights no, I want to watch the entire, every snap from a game so I can see where he's weak at, where he can improve, how he impacted the game. Did he take a receiver away? I saw a few times in the Penn State game that they were looking his way. and he did not pull the trigger. He had very tight coverage. I also noticed in that game, a lot of times he was lining up on the X. He was lining up on the solo receiver side. So he must have been the dog of that defense as far as the corners. He must have been a A1 corner. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just more excited by his build is very similar to Joey Porter Jr. And they drafted two guys like that. And y'all hear me say year after year, I want receivers that I want CBs that can sometimes get up in the receiver's face, man, and mano a mano. If you get beat, you get beat. But, I even saw Trice knock a dude down a couple times in that game where he presses him and knocks him down to the floor. Knocks him down on the field. Now, that's what I'm talking about. So, I can't wait to watch more film on him. But I will say that this might mean trouble for a guy like Ahkello Witherspoon. Yeah, his spot could be in jeopardy. We shall see. But yeah, again, really quick overall, man, I think Omar Khan did a fantastic job in this draft, man. I mean, just acquiring the players that he acquired, being aggressive, moving up to get a player that you want. It's now being reported that they believe that the Jets were going to take Jones. So now there's the answer to your question, guys, as far as why they moved up. Omar Khan said it right out of his own mouth. We felt like, he first said we felt like teams behind us and in front of us, we kind of had an idea of what they wanted to do. And then he literally said we felt like the Jets, may have taken Broderick Jones. So I think Omar Khan said that. I know somebody said, let me backtrack and say, I'm not going to say 100% that Omar Khan said that he thought the Jets, but I definitely know he said we knew what teams ahead of us, behind us were doing. And I've heard several people say it's believed that they thought the Jets were going to draft Jones. But you do that, right? You only move up a few spots. You only give up a 4th round pick. And later on, you entertain a trade to get a 4th round pick back. And you pick Herbig with that pick. Come on, man. Come on. Your first 4 picks, you walked out of this draft with Broderick Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton, and Darnell Washington. And that, folks, is who I think the biggest steal of the draft was. I want you guys to answer that. You guys tell me, who do you think the biggest steal of this draft was for the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm going to say Darnell Washington just because of, man, just think about the times later in the season, right? When the Steelers started running 12 personnel heavily. They want a blocking tight end. They want a big body. How many times have you heard the Steelers over the last several years? 72 is eligible. You remember how they used to do with homeboy? What's my man's name? Big boy from USC. I can't remember his name right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about. His name is slipping my mind, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Big boy. How many times have the Steelers done that, right? Last year, they tried to get Gentry to be more of a blocker. Freiermuth is decent, but, he's not a mauler. And then, everyone talks about how Washington is the best blocking tight end in college, and just his sheer size. Just think about running play action with him and Freiermuth out of 12, or him and Gentry out of 12. And yes, Lawrence Ladie, I couldn't disagree with that as well. Corey Trice might be the steal. You never know, but I'm going to say Darnell Washington because I know more about him. Most of us talked about him. A lot of you guys wanted him to be one of our draft picks, and we get him in the 3rd. We get him at 93 overall. If that ain't a steal, I don't know what is, man. Zach Banner, there you go. Appreciate that, Claude. Zach Banner. Round of applause to Kev. So fun, man. Got another donation rolling in. Oh, man, y'all coming in heavy tonight. My man Tony donating. But hold on. We're going to give everybody their individual round of applause. Kev, so fun. Appreciate that. Kev So Fun says, Sim, you heard Christian Gonzalez's interview with the Steelers was bad, and they said he had no edge. And Omar Khan is my nickname, and I had Washington as my steal, and he can block and be a big target. Appreciate that, Kev So Fun, but man, I got to give you some advice. That's a enormous run-on sentence right there. It just sounds crazy reading that all in one breath. But yeah, I got everything that you said. Yes, I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. May have been before you came on, that the Steelers, apparently we're hearing that his interview didn't go well. Tomlin didn't feel like he had a competitive edge. And apparently, supposedly, there was a tweet out there where Tomlin told Minkah Fitzpatrick, he didn't tweet him that, but the tweet was the report, that he told Minkah that he would not be drafted him. And then that tweet quickly got eliminated. So yeah, I mean, this is why I always say, man, we never know what's really going on. We never know what's really going on. So sometimes you just gotta trust in the team. And yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy, and it was cool to hear Mike Tomlin reference con artists. That was pretty cool, man. In that post-draft conference, he was like, yeah, what do they call them, con artists? So it just shows you that these dudes are in tune, man. And even if it's their media people doing it, they're still kind of in tune. And for him to reference it, that means he's in tune enough to say this is a good time to shout out that nickname. So that's pretty cool. Man, brother Tony, man, appreciate that, man. I got to see my brother this weekend as well, man. He came up. We hung out for a little while on Sunday, so that was great. That was great. But round of applause to Tony, man, for the donation. And there's plans right now for Tony and I to catch a game together this year. Absolutely. Tony has never been to Pittsburgh, man. Well, I'm going to say he's never been to Heinz Field, and that sucks because it's no longer Heinz, but he's never gone to a Steelers game in Pittsburgh, so I'm looking forward to getting him out there. He says, man, we're going to be playing smash mouth football. We're going to be busting out there. That's Tony's favorite word. What Conan said, what's best is life crush your enemy. What's best in life is to crush your enemies. See them driving before you hear the lamination of the woman. Oh yeah, no USC players. That's to Kenya. That is to Kenya. Y'all know him and Tony got that feud, Notre Dame versus USC. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's all I can say. Darnell Washington, I love that pick. I just didn't imagine it would be. I mean, Kenyon would talk to us about it even before the draft. Like, man, imagine if we could get Darnell Washington. Yeah. I just think, man, clearly the Steelers, and let me explain again to you guys why I think this pick is so massive. Look at the type of offensive lineman they acquired. We're clearly going with the big mauler, bruiser type of style, right? You got a super physical receiver in George Pickens. If you guys remember that, how he pushes corners to the ground and willing to block. You got this massive tight end in Zach Gentry, who took some steps last year. But that dude is ginormous and got ripped up. You got Najee Harris that is a ginormous running back. And he's going to come back and start this season in all kinds of shape. You already know that. And then you add another tight end. Like, man, it could get nasty out there. And that dude is physical. And it's like you're imposing your will. You're imposing your will, man, when you just got these big, ginormous cats. It's an instant mismatch, right? Even if you want to put Freiermuth out there because he's probably a little quicker than some of those guys in terms of route running. But again, just think about us going in 12 personnel with Zach Gentry and Darnell Washington. And he's matched up against base defense and linebackers. Ain't none of them dudes that big. Ain't none of them inside linebackers or even some of these guys that play on the outside that might get caught in coverage. Ain't none of them 6'6" or 6'8". mismatch all over the field. This is going to be a thing of beauty, man. I just hope Matt Canada doesn't blow it. So there you have it, man. That's my thoughts. Super steal of the draft. Fire away really quick, guys. Let me know who do you think the steal of the draft was before I grab the phone calls. Because obviously I couldn't look over here as we were reading. Round of applause again to Luis, man. Another donation. Yeah. Luis says he thinks Darnell and Herbert could be diamonds in the rough. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm with you. Luis again, man. Luis just donating like crazy. Another round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you guys when y'all donate. Y'all really don't understand, man. Because it's just humbling. You know what I mean? Don't be surprised if Najee winds up leading the league and rushing at the end of the season. Just saying. It's possible. It's possible, man. Anything is possible. We shall see. Why Diggy says Corey Trice Jr. is potential steal of the draft. Okay. I'm not mad at anybody saying that either. I'm not mad at anybody saying that. Anyone else? But I've seen a couple of you guys already say Trice. So, okay. Hello, Diane, Miss Lady. I appreciate you coming through. Good to see you. Make sure, fellas, you say hello to the lovely ladies. I'm going to say, is it Nobi or Nobe? But let's just say Nobi. Nobi412 says, I'll say Herbig. Okay. I'm not mad at that either because that, again, all three of those guys are kind of steals. You know what I mean? Like nobody was expecting the Steelers to get them. Sean Manahan says, this draft has 74 vibes. I'll take you guys' word for it. I mean, obviously, I know the players that came out of that draft, but again, since I didn't get a chance, did not get a chance to see them in live action. You know what I mean? I know who those players were, but I definitely understand the sentiment. Joshua Shields says Darnell Washington and Trice could indeed be diamonds. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, man. Those are my two steals of the draft for sure. All right, man, let's get to some phone calls, man. And after that, we can get up out of here. Looks like we got a few in the queue. So y'all know the routine, man. Don't keep it super long. State your biz. In and out. But say whatever is on your mind, man. First in the queue, we're going to start off with area code 951. What you got for us?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Tim. I'll make it real quick. I agree with you. I think that Darnell Washington, to me, I'm excited about that pick. And I think specifically because they didn't draft him to be the number one tight end. They didn't need a tight end, honestly. But when you consider George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, now Allen Robinson, throw in, hopefully, a healthy Calvin Austin, he's like that Lamborghini pick, right? That he's that player that he can block for one, like you said, but he's going to have opportunities if Matt Canada, does it right. He's going to have opportunities to be open, especially in that red zone area, which they struggled last year, scoring touchdowns. So I'm kind of agreeing with you. I think he was still the pick. I don't think he was a necessity, but they got so many weapons out there on the outside, man. Teams, hopefully defensive teams are going to have to make their mind up. Do they want to protect the middle of the field or they want to guard the outside? That's all I got. Thanks.
Man, thanks for calling. Yeah, man, I don't have a whole lot to add.
Niner fans, what's up? We waited a long time.
I had a browser open up on me. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, man, I don't have much to add to that because, it's kind of how I was feeling as well. But, I will at least add to what you said as far as they didn't draft him to be the number one. So they clearly draft for quality depth. And we kind of knew that. We kind of knew that was going to happen. Seeing as that even last year we didn't really have a real third tight end, and we're not going to use Haywood as that type of guy. Haywood to me, and I made this reference, and it might have been on the draft show, and I mentioned it to Kenya, and I said, you'll kind of understand where I'm going with this. Connor Haywood is kind of like the Jalen Samuels of tight ends for us, right? Jalen Samuels was a running back, but not so much a traditional running back. He did so much in college. You know, he can line up everywhere. I kind of look at Connor Haywood like that in regards to a tight end. He's not your traditional tight end, even not size-wise, but he's that guy that we can line up at H-back, line up in the backfield, or, you know, split him out. You know, he's a tough little dude, man. And he made a massive catch for us last year. I remember that, to seal a game. You know, I like him a lot, but he's not the traditional tight end. Excuse me, for the Steelers. You know, he's not Freiermuth size. He's not Gentry size, which, you know, Gentry in Washington are these ginormous dudes, but you understand what I'm saying. So I knew a tight end was going to come into the fold at some point. So, yeah, man, quality depth. Super duper quality depth with that Washington pick, man. Outstanding. Before I take the next call, I wanted to comment on something I saw Destiny mentioned here. She says, man, she wished the whole chat could go to a game together. That would be outstanding. Listen, man, look, we could try to do something, you know, as a unit. You know, as many of us as possible try to go to a game. You know, you can make that happen. I know that's going to take some ridiculous accommodations, though, for it to really come into fruition. But I'm just saying, you know, that would be cool if a bunch of us could decide on a weekend and say, hey, we're going to go hit this game up. You know, try to coordinate the seats, and that would be smooth. That would be smooth, man. So I'm all in favor of that. All in favor of that. So, yeah. All right, next call of the queue, man, we're going to take is area code 678. What you got for us?
Thanks a lot for taking my call, Sim.
Yes, sir.
I'll make it quick. I mentioned before I was born in Pittsburgh but raised in the A, and I got a chance to see a lot of UGA football. A few weeks ago, I was telling you I was really excited about getting Darnell Washington. Super excited about getting them in the third round. But the first round pick as well, you know, they played together. And, you know, this year right here, he should be definitely able to free up Heath Miller, just like he freed up Brock Jones or something like that here, the tight end here, because they would be concentrating on him blocking so much, and then they would do the two tight end sets, and, you know, they'd be doing their running game. And then the next thing you know, here come Darnell Washington, been blocking all game. He'd come out either, whether it be like a 3-yard or 5-yard pop, he turned one of those into 15, 20 because he's so big, you know, and the tackle radius is not favorable for, you know, safeties, cornerbacks. It's not really favorable. But I believe definitely that was the steal of the draft. And I'm really super excited also that you got 3 players from the University of Georgia that were on national championships together. I think that's pretty exciting as well.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking my call, and you guys have a wonderful evening.
Man, no problem. I appreciate the call just as much as you appreciate me taking it, man. I appreciate that. And, yeah, I mean, you watched a lot of Georgia football, and I got to give credit to that program, man. I mean, people forget that. You know, you got Broderick Jones as well as Washington, and people forget, you know, who just played with them a season ago, Pickens. And yeah, man, that team and that program, look at what Philly did. Like, my God, how many Georgia Bulldogs is on that team from last season to this season? Like, it's crazy. And they scared, man. I just got to say that really quick. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, have mercy. That's all I can say. Phenomenal stuff. But yeah, man, it's going to be good to see, man. Like you said, you know, I think we're definitely going to see some situations where Washington is out there just to block. I didn't even notice, but they say the dude calls himself the 6th lineman. So that means you already know what his mentality is about. And again, just watch the games. Watch Georgia games and watch him get down. And here's the thing that surprised me, too, the more and more I watched him, because Kenyon put me on to him like months ago. And I started watching him during the season. This dude can catch. You know, this dude will make acrobatic catches on you. And Georgia was sending him down the middle of the field. So just imagine what type of matchup nightmare he could possibly be. Shoot, man, I would come out in the 12 personnel, and I'll run him and Moof in the seam on opposite sides. What you gonna do? Okay, we about to see something crazy, man. Next up in the queue, area code 803, which I believe is Mr. Winningham. How you doing tonight, sir?
Good evening to the gentlemen. Good evening to all the beautiful ladies. Washington is definitely the steal of the draft, but on both sides of the ball, we are definitely going to be playing bully ball. We are going to be playing bully ball this year. It's going to look like the 80s Pistons out there. I hope that's the style that we bring. Washington, I have to take Luis's point. You know, he took my point when he was saying it on the chat. A lot of you look up Eric Green. Eric Green was 6'6", probably 280, had soft hands, but Eric Green, I don't think had the desire that what Washington has for us. And all in all, it was a fantastic draft, and I'm very happy we had this kind of draft. I wish we had a fifth or a sixth round to kind of fill that void that, you know, if you were sitting there watching the draft like I was, I wish we had that extra pick, but we do not have to give up any picks for next year. We haven't had a fifth round pick, guys, in about, 3 or 4 years. That's amazing. But I'm thankful, and I think even though Gonzalez was out there, you got one thing about this draft. There were a lot of guys winning that first and second round who were probably third and fourth rounders. But thank you so much, and everybody have a great week ahead.
Man, Mr. Winningham, I tell you every time, man, it's something about just the wisdom that just comes off of your voice when you speak, man. I always appreciate talking to you, man. We love you over here, Mr. Winningham, but you're absolutely right. You know, and I'm happy for you because you talk about the offensive line so much, and you want us to be physical and you know, just maul people, and I'm happy to hear you excited about that potential because you're right on both sides of the ball, man. I can't wait to see, you know, it's a quiet. We've been quiet on this pick, but I can't wait to see how Keanu Benton is going to fit. You know, the one thing that we cannot forget about is we already know the Wisconsin connection, right? And there it is again, more teammates that know each other. Herbig, Benson, and TJ Watt. You know, Herbig trains with the kid. His big brother is going to be playing on the offensive side of the ball. You know, we'll see if he gets a chance to start or not. But, dog, we drafted a traditional 3-4 defensive tackle. See, I didn't even know that at first. And I mentioned it on the draft night. I asked Kenyon, I asked you guys, I said, yo, is he a nose? Because I just hadn't seen a lot of Wisconsin ball this year, but when I knew who he was. I mean, of course, you know who some of these players are. You watch a couple games here and there, but when I'm watching games and I'm not really scouting guys, I don't always pay attention to scheme and all of that. And a lot of times teams run sub-packets so much. But finding out that this dude is a traditional 3-4 nose tackle, I'm excited to see what this dude brings to the table as well, man. Of course, offensively with those guys, and of course the cornerback position, but I'm excited by that D-line rotation, man, because not only just him, even the dude from the Chargers, man, Breeden Fihoku, if I'm saying his name correctly. I think we got some quality depth on that defensive line, so it could get interesting, man. It could get very interesting. I'm excited about that. But let me stop yapping, man, because we got a lot more phone calls in here. So let's get into them. Area code 651, what you got for us?
Hey, what's up? What you see?
Ain't nothing much, man. What's going on?
Not much, man. I got a couple quick things I'm going to say. I hate to hear people say that we just got Herbie because of his brother, but I'm sure a lot of people know now that TJ works out with that guy. So you don't think Tomlin called and said, hey, man, what you think about that kid? I know you've been out there working with him. What do you think? I'm sure he asked him. So I'm going to trust in what he did. The other thing is I feel like bringing in Washington will open up Hayward to become that Chris Cooley. Could you imagine having one of them on the squad? Chris Cooley did it all, man. He's sneaky athletic, too. So I think he kind of fits that mold, and we can actually use him like that. I think the real steal of the pick that could. I mean, we know Washington is the biggest steal, but one that could turn out to be even bigger is Trice. If he can develop in that year or so, and we have him and Peasy's son, two long physical corners on the outside. Oh my God! Like,
Yeah, man.
That's gonna be crazy. And the last thing is, man, don't forget we got another round of free agency because a lot of people gonna be released. So there's still some shopping to do out there if we need it. So I think it's gonna be a great year, man. This is one of the best drafts I can remember. So but that's all I got.
Man, appreciate the call. You're absolutely right, man. The possibility of, wow, just imagine if Trice, can turn out to be something, man. And Peasy Jr. I mean, I'm just imagining putting them two big corners on the outside like in dime. And just, man. I mean, it's wishful thinking, right? Because none of us know how it's going to turn out. But it's just, right now, all we got is possibilities, right? It's just the possibility of what can be. And, yeah, it's worth getting excited over. Definitely worth getting excited over. I cannot lie about that. And also, what do you guys think about the signing of Chandon Sullivan, I believe his name is? If I'm saying his name correctly. I know many people are saying, he could be a guy that ends up making the squad and being a slot corner. We'll see. But what do you guys think about that signing? Next up, area code 318. What you got for us?
Whoa, what's up, Bob?
What's going on, brother?
No, nothing. I know last time you saw a 318 number, it wasn't pretty. But nah, that's like I said, that wasn't me. I went and I went and watched what's his name, Ben. I watched some of his highlights, man. It seemed like he has a lot of tackles for losses, man. It's like he pushing. It's like he pushing that power back, and that's what we need. And I just went back and watched some of our pictures highlight like JPJ. I was talking to my fam, my real uncle, and he was just like, he only has one pick, I think, in 3 years or something like that. I'm just like, I heard he has a lot of pass breakups, and I can deal with that. If he can just hold that side down or hold his man, I can deal with that. And basically just to touch on the draft, man. Yeah, we trying to bring that meat out, man. We trying to bring the big boys out this year, man. Like, and as we finally finish see, Najee, it's gonna bring Najee full potential out because he finally has an O-line. But that's all I really got on. You hold it down, man. Have a good night.
Man, appreciate the call, man. Yeah, that dude, man, Benton is very stout. So, man, just some man. We know what it looks like in sub, when Cam Hayward is getting pressure in the middle. But just imagine for a moment, guys, how good our pressure game is when we get pressure up the middle. Oh, have mercy, man. The opportunities are endless, man. It's crazy to feel this way, but it's been such a long time, man. I don't remember ever feeling this way about a draft in my time watching the Steelers. Not the entire draft board. And I'm not even going to say the entire, because again, I don't know the other kid the 7th round pick, not Trice, but the other guy. I don't know much about him. And we didn't have a 5th and a 6th. But I cannot remember the last time the first 5 picks by the Steelers I was ecstatic about. Right? Jones, Porter, Benton, Washington, Herbig. I don't recall it. I don't recall a time that I felt that way. So, best one I've seen with my own eyes since I've been, of age to follow the Steelers. So, next up, we got 2 more calls, man. Area code 412. What you got for us?
Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is No. You call me Noby.
Oh, no. Okay.
That's my, we refer to my son as that.
All right. That's what's up.
I was just I was just going to piggyback off what you were saying. Like, I was born in 87, so this is like the first draft in a long time like that. Like you said, excited about all the picks. And I did lie. Washington is my steal. I feel like Herbeck is going to be the jump. But I was speaking with my dad, and I was telling him I think we try to get back to that smash mouth. You know what I mean? You look at the linebackers with Holcomb and Roberts. That it's kind of giving me that Ferrier foot because we've been trying to replace Shazier and replace Casey Hampton, but we can't. You know what I mean? So I feel like we about to do some things on both sides, trenches on both sides. I see what they doing. So, and another thing, what you said about Sullivan, he might make the roster over Mollett because I like Mollett coming down in the box, but I don't really dig his cover skills. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, bro, this is my second time on your live. I'm tuned in. I'm at work right now, so I'm gonna get off, but I'm listening in.
Man, appreciate the call, my brother. Have a good evening of work. I don't know what time you get off, man, but hope you've had a great day and have a great night. Put that work in. And I appreciate you tuning in, man, you know. And don't get in trouble on my account. I don't know if you're supposed to have your phone or not. Like, I don't know, you know, exactly what your job is, but I appreciate it. But yeah, man, I'm happy to have you tune in. But you're right, man. I think the Steelers are just going back to that old gritty, man, bully ball, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's what we are made of. And it was good to even hear Tom and reiterate that in the presser when he was saying, you know, physicality. This is something that we pride ourselves on. That's still a football. It's always been still a football. Hey, it's AFC North football. You know, so yeah, enough with all of the finesse. Now, again, we can mix some of that in. But I want to get back to, I want the perfect combination of pound the rock, and we got receivers that can hit you deep down the field, take a shot here, quick underneath route. Like, I want to keep guys on their toes. And the best way to do that is by running the ball. Because I'll tell you right now, when you can run the ball at 5 and 6 yards a clip, every defense got to respect that. So the passing game is going to be there. One-on-ones are going to be there. And like I said, as soon as they come up like that, and we line up in 12, like it look like we're going to run, and we got Washington, and I even put Gentry out there. 2 ginormous bodies, one-on-one, against a base defense. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, man, I'm going to enjoy this. But all right, man, last call of the night. We got area code 313. What you got for us?
Hey, Sim, what's happening, buddy? What's going on with Steel Nation? Just calling in from Detroit, Michigan, and get my little talking about the draft and everything. I ain't talked to you guys in a while, but here's my take. Mm-hmm. What we just witnessed with the Pittsburgh Steelers was, and we got to start at the top first to give that the credit. Rooney went and remember going back as Ben was coming to the end of his career, he went and said he wanted to get back to smash mouth football. Yeah. So the blueprint was he went back with Omar Khan and said, look, like Philly was the last 3-4 years, that one of the best offensive lines in football and one of the best defensive lines. So he went and got Steeler guys and brought them back into the fold to get back to. Now, I'm going to tell you who we going to mimic, because I'll be 55 come May 12th. They trying to get back to the time of Joe Green now. If you really look at the team, we had one of the best trap blocking offensive line. We had one of two-head monster and Rocky Bly and Franco Harris. We had them 2 killer receivers on the outside of Swan and Star Wars. Then you had Benny Cunningham. I forgot Randy Grossman was the other tight end. See, you going back to how they was 3 yards in the cloud of dust, and Pittsburgh controlled games. Remember with the ground game. Then they opened up the rules and think 75, 76, and then they was able to 77, 78 when they opened up the passing game with the Mel Blunt rule. Remember when they popped that in? And I laugh when I look at Joey Porter's son because he reminds me of Mel Blount, 6'3", 6'4", long arm, da-da-da. But no, he didn't get the picks. But in that defense with Patrick Peterson to tutor him, I guarantee he's going to be a better pro by the time his second and third year. Probably his first year, I hope, but he should develop into a strong shutdown. Again, he's a press corner. That's what I'm loving about him. And the last thing I just want to put out there, again, the back end with Fitzpatrick and everybody, it reminded me of Edwards and everybody back then. They will pick you off because last year we led the league in interceptions. You getting back to the Steelers of basically the 70s. If you want to go back and look at the film, go look at those teams. Glenn Edwards, J.T. Thomas, I can tell you all. I watched them. I'm old enough, I was alive to see it. That's what Rooney said long time ago. I want to get back to how my dad had his team, and we are sitting on the cusp, bro.
Wow.
I'm loving it. So y'all all have a blessed one. I like kicking it with you guys, man. Y'all have a true and outstanding day. And once again, go Steeler Nation.
Man, 313, what a call, man. Great way to end the calls. And I see we do have a few more calls in the queue. I apologize. I won't be able to get to you guys tonight, man. Sorry about that. Our time is running down. But, hey, he could very well be on to something. You know, excellent call. Absolutely, Debbie. That was an amazing history lesson right there. Like the man said, he's 55 years. Well, happy early birthday. I think he said he'll be 55 on May 12th. So he's seen it. He was actually physically around, to bear witness to those teams. And it definitely sounds like it, right? I mean, and I was going to say it if he didn't say it as far as the Mel Blount thing. But yeah, it looks like he's trying to mimic that too. Big old corner. Then we got Joey Porter and then the Corey Trice kid. Big guys. 6'3", 215. And I think Porter Jr. is about that. I think 6'2", 6'3", somewhere like that. And then the big tight ends. I mean, sounds about right. You know, sometimes I know we always want to innovate, and you have to innovate in today's game, but sometimes you can get back to basics. And I think football a lot of times still comes back to getting back to the basics. And think about how Tennessee, not last season, but whatever season that was when Tennessee went deep in the playoffs, you think about how they were able to beat people. Just physical team, running the football and playing solid defense with guys like Bayard on the back end, right? So it can be done. Now, of course, you're going to have to be able to pull some tricks out of your hat to contend with dudes and guys like Pat Mahomes and them that's more finesse. However, you can play a possession game and bully teams. So even though it's a passing league now and it's more cute now, football is still ugly. And them trenches make a difference. So if you dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, that equals winnings. That's a winning formula. Look at the Ravens. You know, when they were winning, what were they doing? Running that football. Even in the games that Cleveland was winning and, and playing solid defense, they was running the football with Chubb. So that still works in today's football, man. So I look forward to it. I look forward to it a lot, man. Got a few more minutes here, man. I'll sit in here in the queue for a few seconds, and read some of you guys' comments, maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. While I'm waiting for some comments, I'll tell you guys a funny story. Y'all might have heard see me do this a couple times. Well, some of y'all would know. Some of you guys might be new, but my wife and I, we just moved into a new home that we had built. And at this point, and probably for months going, the house is gonna settle. So every now and then you're gonna hear a little, noise. And I'm the only one here tonight. And it's just funny because I'm laughing at myself. I'm like, what was that? But it's like, and when you move into a house, man, and me and my wife have been fortunate. Our first home, we bought a townhome back in 2011, and that was brand new. So again, we've been fortunate to where each one of our homes have been built from the ground. So we went through the same thing with that. You just be laying down watching TV and you hear it. The house settling, but it's so crazy. Tonight with me just being the only one here, but my wife being away overnight for work. It's hilarious because I just keep laughing at myself every time I look like, what was that? But yeah, appreciate that. No, appreciate that, man. What you guys got, man? Give me a couple comments before I get out of here. Oh, Andre Romero, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you've been well. He says, I played against Steelers UDFA Jordan Bird in high school from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He says, absolutely insane. Okay, cool. We got some intel. Got some intel on him. Y Diggy says, I'm confident that Pat Peterson and Terrell Austin will help Peasy Jr. with his ball skills. Yeah, you know, I don't read into that a lot. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's the right place at the right time, you know? And again, it also depends on the style of play, you know, because you could be, there's some guys who have been considered shut down corners in their career that didn't have a bunch of interceptions. You know, I would love for you to turn the ball
90
over,
seconds.
Oh, Blog Talk talking to us. Let me extend that a few minutes just so you guys don't have to hear that that chime in your ear. I'm only going to be on maybe another 4 or 5 minutes, but either way, I don't want you guys to keep hearing that reminder for some of you guys who are listening on Blog Talk. But yeah, man, I mean, if you're getting PBUs, tight coverage, tackling the catch and all of that stuff, I mean, I'm not going to beef so much with the interceptions. I mean, look at what we did last year as a whole, as a team collective. They led the league. You know, you got other guys out there with ball skills. You understand what I'm saying? So when you have a Minka, you have a KZ, you know, well, Cam Sutton gave us some picks last year too. But when you got guys out there that are ball skill capable, I'm not upset with one guy, you know, maybe not having as many interceptions. You have a guy, Levi Wallace, who had picks for us last year. You got a guy like Patrick Peterson who's going to play, you know, in spots. I'm sure he can get interceptions. So I'm not too mad about that. Thank you so much, Diana. Appreciate that. And by the way, I think what I'm going to do, just give me a little bit of time, you know, just to get a few more things situated. I know a lot of you, you know, expressed since you kind of been on the journey with me. You know, y'all remember when we were going to buy a home before and things fell through with that house, with the seller, you know, just some wild stuff we found out about the house, which led us into just going with a new build so we wouldn't have to worry about any craziness. A lot of you guys have asked, you know, hey, man, we would love to see how the house turned out. I do plan to, you know, do like a little mini walkthrough because I know a lot of you guys wanted to see it. And what I'm probably going to do is make the video unlisted. So that way, you know, whenever I'm ready to do it, I'll share the link here on the show and you can only view it if you have the link. Because I'm just not one of those people that, you know, I don't just post stuff like that on YouTube for the world to see because I don't really care about that. I would only do that because I know a lot of you guys would kind of be like, hey, man, we want to see the house, blah, 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 blah. So that's what I got planned, you know, and in the near future for any of you guys that care about that. Yeah, exactly, Andre. That's why if I do it, it's not even going to be, you know what I mean? It's not even going to be something, you know what I'm saying? Public to the world. It will only be available to you guys here in Steeler Nation. You're not going to see the address or nothing like that. So I'm not tripping. But on the same breath, that's exactly why I don't just post stuff like that. And I'm just not that type of person. You know, I'm showing off. I just, you know. What else y'all got? Anything else? Somebody said Miles Jack is back. Oh, Deron, is he back? Or you saying, should they bring him back? They brought him back, or if he is back, I mean, that would be solid depth. Absolutely, because again, it's still a little shaky. Still a little shaky in inside linebacker. Oh, you said should they? Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't cost anything, I don't think it hurts because I think Holcomb is kind of going to be the guy that takes the lead. But behind Holcomb, I mean, I still don't really know. You know, I think Landon Roberts is probably, you know, a solid tackler and stuff like that, but I don't know how great he would be for the Steelers opposite Holcomb. We know Mark Robinson is still a work in progress. So I wouldn't be upset, if we walked away or by the end of the season, not the end of the season, by the beginning of the season, by the end of the preseason and the offseason, if we're looking at 4 inside backers that consist of Cole Holcomb, Landon Roberts, Mark Robinson, and Miles Jack, I would not be upset with that. Would not be upset with that at all. Yeah, and he's not on another team yet, so could be possible. Yeah, he was. Jack was having a, kind of a tough time at times in his coverage game. But again, as a backup or as a rotational piece, I'd take him in a heartbeat as a third. No question. Says maybe they will use Neal for those purposes, perhaps. Because, the Steelers are definitely going to run that sub, that big nickel. They did it last year. They're definitely going to run that. And I loved it. I loved it, man, when we had Edmonds, Minka, and KZ. I loved that. So I would expect the Steelers to keep up with that because both KZ and Neal can play, that safety position, whether they're playing deep or playing in the box. So I definitely would expect that to happen. All right, I'll sit here for maybe 2 more minutes. Any other comments before I roll out? Me too, no. A lot of people, man, they fronted on Terrell Edmonds. I like Terrell Edmonds, man. Definitely leading up to his, his final season with us. He did his job. He got better. He was starting to figure it out, like you said. I think he got a lot better. I think over the last 2 seasons, we saw his PBU game take a tick up. And, we just had to acknowledge that the kid just wasn't ball skilled. He wasn't a ball skilled guy, but that's cool. Jersey boy, you make a fantastic point. And this is something that I always remind myself when I'm watching players in general. We always expect all of these players to do this and do that and cover this and cover that. But like you said, how many inside linebackers, middle linebackers can cover tight ends? You know what I'm saying? Like dudes like Ryan Shazier, Luke Kuechly, Fred Warner. Like these dudes are anomalies, man. They don't happen every night. And there's some other guys here and there that probably can do it. But you understand what I'm saying? That's a luxury. Ryan Shazier kind of spoiled the Steelers. Yeah, he spoiled us as a fan base. Luke Kuechly was a monster in Carolina. And Warner out in San Francisco. You don't find those dudes on the tree. They don't grow on trees. Those are the elite talented guys. And you hope that you find a guy that can cover decently. And I think we all fall into that sometimes with all players, even like with Terrell Edmonds. Everybody was so mad at the fact, he can't. Yeah, but maybe he's not that type of safety. Clearly, Minka is the ball skill guy. And clearly, anybody who plays strong safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers, by nature, your mind is going to revert back to another guy who plays strong safety. That was probably one of the, if not the best, strong safeties that have ever played. And that's what happens. That's what happens. You tend to start thinking about that guy. And there's no comparison. So sometimes you got to take players for what they are, man. You know what I'm saying? And when you get you a guy who can really do what you're looking for them to do, you have to appreciate it. Yeah, I'm agreeing with Kenya right there. He says, look, the Arizona Cardinals did not pick up an inside linebacker, Isaiah Simmons' 5th-year option, and the Steelers should target him. Simmons can cover tight ends with no problem. Yeah, that's interesting that they didn't pick up his 5th year. Andre said, we used to greatness Cause Steeler fans some slick. He says, cut Steeler fans some slack. We have been spoiled. Yeah, I know we spoiled, man. And you know, we all included. But I just have become a little more realistic in some of my assessments, man. All right, the last one. He says, Mr. Elman says, how interesting will the camp battle be in one-on-ones? Pickens versus Trice. Yeah, all of that. You know, I'm sure they're going to put Pickens. I'm sure Pickens is going to get his opportunity against Trice and Porter. Because those are your big, bulky cornerbacks, right? And George Pickens, you know, he has a history of bullying cornerbacks from the rip. So I'm sure Tomlin and them are going to pair those together. Because steel sharpens steel. You know, and I'm sure Deontay going to cook both of them for the most part early with his route running. But yeah, that's going to be great. Those 1 versus 1v1. Can't even talk right. That's going to be interesting, man, seeing those 1v1s, man. Absolutely. 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 But all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, man. This was a great night tonight, man. I didn't even realize we would go this long. I'm glad we did. We got a lot of phone calls. I love when you guys call in and share your thoughts. Hour and 12 minutes here. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Yeah, man, I got to get myself prepared to commute one more time this week tomorrow. And then I can chill and work from home for the rest of the week. And as you guys can probably see, I got these baggages under my eye. Got to get some sleep in. But again, man, I appreciate y'all coming through. All I ask y'all to do for me, man, is just a couple things. This is the first one. Hit the like button, man. Please, man. Y'all have no idea how much that helps tremendously. Hit that like button if you like what you saw. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And once you are a subscriber, make sure you click on that bell notification. That way you always know when I am live or when there's a pre-recorded production uploaded. But outside of that, I wish everyone a great rest of the week. Stay safe. God bless. Good night. And like always, I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. And I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.